1. Battery-powered lanterns and flashlights. When the lights go out, you're going to need reliable, portable sources of light. Battery-powered lanterns and flashlights are non-negotiable. Forget candles, they're a hazard waiting to happen. You don't want to deal with a house fire on top of a blackout. Lanterns are ideal for illuminating larger rooms like your living room or kitchen, making them indispensable for any family or group trying to stick together in the dark. Grab ones with adjustable brightness, they'll help you stretch battery life when you need it most. Speaking of batteries, stockpile them now. You don't want to be fumbling in the dark, realizing you ran out of backups. Include a mix of sizes. If your gear varies, you'll thank yourself later. LED flashlights are the way to go because they're brighter, longer lasting, and use less energy compared to those outdated incandescents. Get enough to store one in every major room, including the bathroom. Yes, you'll need light in there too. For ultimate practicality, invest in a few headlamps. There's nothing handier for jobs that actually require your hands, like reviving a generator or slicing vegetables without risking life and limb. Rechargeable flashlight options are also smart. They're the gift that keeps on giving. Solar and hand crank mechanisms mean you won't burn through your battery stash as quickly, and they're better for long-term outages. Failure to prep for lighting will turn your home into a dangerous, chaotic mess. Blindly tripping over furniture or trying to cook in near darkness isn't just inconvenient, it's reckless. Make battery-powered lighting a priority now so you're not left bumbling around when the time comes. You'll regret it if you don't. 2. Solar or hand crank radios. When a blackout hits, communication is one of the first things you'll lose, and you'll quickly realize how much you rely on it. When cell towers and internet services are down, news and information don't just stop, they become inaccessible to you. That's where a solar or hand crank radio steps in and becomes your lifeline to the outside world. Period. These radios are an absolute must-have for receiving emergency broadcasts, weather alerts, and critical local updates. When there's chaos unfolding, ignorance can be deadly. A solar-powered radio keeps you connected by harnessing sunlight. No batteries, no electricity, just the sun. If there's no sun or it's nighttime, a hand crank radio has you covered. It works entirely with manual effort, so you'll always have access to vital information no matter how bad things get. The simple truth is, emergencies are unpredictable, and the last thing you want is to be caught without any way of knowing what's happening. Whether it's updates on the blackout itself, severe weather, evacuation notices, or other disaster bulletins, these radios ensure you're not left in the dark literally and figuratively. Waiting around or assuming help will just find its way to you is reckless. You're on your own until you know what's going on. Don't make the mistake of shoving your emergency radio in a drawer and forgetting about it for years. Keep it charged if it's solar-powered, and if it's a hand crank model, test it periodically to make sure it's still functional. Store it in an accessible place, not buried in some bin in the garage. Imagine scrambling in pitch black to find it when you need it most. Plan ahead because blackouts don't send invitations. Some radios even come with additional features like built-in flashlights, USB charging ports, and emergency sirens, making them even more useful. Look for a model that covers NOAA weather channels and AM/FM stations to maximize the updates you have access to. Cutting corners here is a gamble. Get a reliable, durable model because your safety and situational awareness depend on it. Bottom line, ignoring the need for a solar or hand crank radio is foolish. Hope isn't a plan, preparedness is. When the lights go out and the world feels like it's caving in, this simple device can mean the difference between surviving and stumbling through chaos blindly. Don't underestimate its value. Make it part of your blackout prep today before it's too late. 3. Portable generators and solar panels. When the power goes out, you don't want to be fumbling around in the dark, wishing you'd prepared. Portable generators and solar panels are non-negotiable items for securing your survival. A blackout can stretch from a few hours to several days or even weeks, and without a reliable power source, you'll be helpless in maintaining basic functions like running your fridge, heating your home, or even charging your phone. Prepare now or regret it later. Portable generators should be one of the first items on your prep checklist. These devices are fantastic for short-term outages, giving you immediate and reliable power when you need it most. But don't make the mistake of buying any random generator. Choose one that matches your needs. If you just want to keep essentials like a refrigerator and a couple of lights running, a small generator might do. But if you need power for multiple rooms or critical systems like a sump pump or medical equipment, you'll need a larger model. Don't forget to stockpile enough fuel, whether that's gasoline or propane, but remember that storage comes with risks. Keep the fuel containers tightly sealed, stored securely, and far away from your home. And this is vital: never run a generator indoors. The carbon monoxide it emits can kill you and your family without warning. Keep it outside, at least 20 feet away from windows and doors, and ensure proper ventilation. Solar panels, on the other hand, are the gold standard for long-term outages. Unlike generators, they don't rely on a finite fuel source and are completely silent, no roaring engine to disturb the peace or draw unwanted attention. However, don't assume that slapping a couple of solar panels on your porch will be enough. You need to pair them with a battery bank to store energy for nighttime use or cloudy days. Without this setup, your solar panels will become useless after sundown. Invest in a quality battery bank that can hold enough power to last through the night. Solar power is particularly great for running essentials such as refrigerators, medical devices, or lights, especially when outages drag on for days. This isn't just about convenience, it's about survival. A long-lasting blackout could jeopardize your food supply, communication devices, and even your safety. Whether you go with a portable generator, solar panels, or both, failing to secure a backup power source today will lead to disaster tomorrow. Be smart. Prepare now. You'll thank yourself when the lights go out. 4. Alternative heating solutions. When the grid goes down in the dead of winter, heat isn't just a convenience, it's survival. Freezing homes can quickly turn life-threatening, especially for the elderly, children, and anyone with health conditions. If you don't have backup heating figured out, you're in trouble. Here's the blunt truth: you need a plan, and you need it now. First off, propane heaters are a solid choice. They're portable, they heat small spaces quickly, and they're relatively easy to find. But don't get careless, these heaters release combustion gases. Crack a window or keep them in ventilated spaces. And don't forget to stockpile extra propane tanks, because running out mid-blackout isn't just inconvenient, it's dangerous. Next up are kerosene heaters. These bad boys are efficient and can really heat up a room. Still, you've got to stay vigilant. Like propane, kerosene heaters need proper ventilation to prevent dangerous fumes. Stock up on kerosene now, it doesn't stay readily available when crises hit. If you've already got a wood stove or fireplace, you're ahead of the game. These are perhaps the most reliable options, assuming you've got a solid supply of firewood. But here's the catch: don't neglect chimney maintenance. A clogged chimney can backfire, filling your home with smoke or worse, causing a fire. Simple upkeep can be the difference between staying warm or disaster. For those looking to go green or live in sunny regions, solar-powered space heaters could be a game-changer. These eco-friendly options can keep you warm without burning through fuel supplies. However, they rely on sunlight, which isn't reliable in all areas during winter. Think of them as a supplementary option if conditions allow. Here's a piece of safety advice: you can't ignore carbon monoxide detectors. Carbon monoxide is a silent killer, and any heating system that involves combustion risks exposing you to it. Without a working detector, you're gambling with lives. Waiting until the blackout to figure this out is stupid. Prep ahead. Whether it's propane, kerosene, wood, or solar, know exactly how you'll keep your house warm. Stock supplies, maintain your equipment, and ensure your safety gear like detectors and fire extinguishers is ready to go. Don't make excuses, make a plan. Your life might depend on it. 5. Stock up on non-perishable foods. When the lights go out and refrigerators stop running, your fresh food is going to spoil fast. If you're not prepared with a proper stock of non-perishable foods, you're setting yourself up for failure. Electricity might not come back for days or even weeks during a serious blackout. You need food that doesn't rely on refrigeration or cooking. Period. Canned goods are your best friend. Go for a variety of options like vegetables, beans, soups, and canned meats. These hold up for months, sometimes years, and they provide essential nutrition when fresh options are out of the question. Pair them with dry staples such as pasta, rice, and instant noodles. These don't just fill you up, they're shelf-stable, cheap, and easy to store. A stash of ready-to-eat snacks like nuts, granola bars, and dried fruits can be lifesavers for quick energy without needing prep. If you're serious about survival, and you should be, consider investing in meals ready-to-eat omres. These military-grade food packs are designed for situations just like this. No cooking, no refrigeration. Just open and eat. Don't make the rookie mistake of assuming you'll have time or resources to cook elaborate meals during a blackout. Spoiler alert, you won't. Here's something most people forget in their preparation frenzy: a manual can opener. Those cans of food won't mean a thing if you can't actually open them. Electric can openers are worthless without power, so make sure you have at least one manual opener on hand. Even better, have a backup. Redundancy is key when your life may depend on it. Stockpiling non-perishables might not feel flashy or exciting, but neglecting it is a death sentence waiting to happen. Don't daydream about fast food or grocery deliveries to save you; those won't exist in a prolonged blackout. It's not just about having food, it's about having food that will last, feed you, and require minimal effort to prepare. The bottom line? Build your stash now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now. A little planning today can mean the difference between comfort and desperation when the lights go out. Don't be the person left regretting their short-sightedness while staring at an empty pantry. 6. Water storage and purification methods. When the power goes out, water shortages will hit harder and faster than you think. Without access to clean water, survival becomes incredibly difficult, and waiting until the taps run dry isn't an option. You need at least 1 gallon of water per person per day for drinking, cooking, and basic hygiene. That means for a family of 4, a 3-day emergency would require a minimum of 12 gallons. This is absolute bare-bones planning. Don't assume you'll scrape by with less. If storage space is an issue, it's time to get creative. Use large containers like BPA-free water barrels, stackable water bricks, or even repurpose food-grade bottles. But don't stop there. Having water is only half the battle. You need a reliable way to purify it too. Portable water filters like LifeStraw or Sawyer Mini are compact, relatively cheap, and can be lifesavers when clean drinking water isn't an option. Purification tablets are another lightweight alternative. Stock up now, because when everyone else is scrambling, these essentials will vanish from shelves. Rainwater collection systems can also offer a backup supply. Install proper gutters and rain barrels on your property before the crisis hits. For those using natural water sources like rivers or lakes during an emergency, never, and we mean never, trust that water is safe as is. Boil it, filter it, or chemically treat it. Your life literally depends on your precautions. Beyond the immediate concerns of staying hydrated, think long-term. What happens if the blackout stretches into weeks? Have backup plans to consistently replenish your water supply, whether through rain catchment systems or identifying reliable, renewable local sources. Don't forget that water isn't just for drinking. You'll need it for cooking, cleaning, and staying sanitary when the sewer systems fail. Waiting until water runs out isn't an option. Fail to prepare, and you'll end up standing in endless lines for FEMA handouts or scavenging for potentially contaminated sources. Water isn't optional, and in a blackout, it's the first thing you'll regret ignoring. Stock up. Store it safely. Purify it obsessively, because without it, nothing else on this prep list will matter. 7. Portable cooking solutions. When the power goes out, how do you plan to eat? Waiting around for the power to come back isn't an option, and relying on ready-to-eat snacks is only sustainable for so long. That's why portable cooking solutions are absolutely essential. You're going to need a method to prepare meals, and just hoping it all works out isn't a plan. It's a disaster waiting to happen. Propane stoves and alcohol stoves are smart, compact solutions that can be used indoors or outdoors, but pay attention to ventilation if you're indoors. The last thing you need during a blackout is to deal with carbon monoxide poisoning because you didn't plan properly. These stoves are reliable and relatively easy to use, provided you have enough fuel stored. And yes, we're going to say it again, store enough fuel. Without it, your fancy stove is just a shiny paperweight. For outdoor cooking, charcoal or gas grills are excellent options. They're effective and simple, but they're not just going to magically turn on for you. Make sure you've got a good supply of charcoal and lighter fluid or propane for gas grills. Don't underestimate how quickly you can burn through these resources when the grid's down, and restocking won't be an option once stores are cleared out, which will happen faster than you think. If you're in a rural or wooded area, rocket stoves are a fantastic backup. They use natural materials like twigs or small branches, meaning you're less reliant on external fuel supplies. They're efficient, but don't assume you'll just figure it out when the time comes. Practice using your rocket stove now before you actually need it. Trust me, your future self will thank you. Above all, fuel storage is non-negotiable. Running out of fuel mid-crisis is a rookie mistake that will leave you cold, hungry, and furious with yourself. Make sure you store your fuel safely and securely, away from flammable materials and moisture. Don't get lazy. Fuel is one of those things you can never have too much of when the blackout hits. Don't kid yourself into thinking cooking solutions aren't a priority. If you don't have a plan, you'll end up eating canned beans straight out of the can in the dark. Stock up, prepare, and practice now, because when the grid goes down, you'll regret ignoring this step. 8. Cold storage management. When the blackout hits and the power goes out, your freezer and fridge are on a ticking clock before everything inside starts to spoil. Food is survival, and wasting it can cost you dearly. Cold storage is one of the most overlooked preps, and you'll regret it if you ignore it now. Your first priority is to maximize the cold retention of your freezer and refrigerator. Stock your freezer with ice packs or frozen water bottles now. These items will act as passive coolants, helping to maintain freezing temperatures for as long as possible. A half-empty freezer won't cut it fill every inch you can because the more mass you have inside, the longer it'll stay cold. If the blackout drags on, your fridge will become useless. Prepare for this by having portable coolers and a solid stock of ice. Move perishables to these coolers immediately when fridge temperatures start to rise. It's simple, no ice means wasted food. Ice, especially when prepped in advance, can buy you precious hours, even days, to keep essentials from going bad. Be intentional and organized with your cooler space to make every square inch count. Another smart move? Pre-cook meals now. No power means no functioning kitchen appliances, and scrounging for solutions can waste critical time and energy. Prepare meals that can be eaten cold or reheated quickly. Use portable stoves or burners that rely on butane, propane, or similar fuels that don't require electricity. This ensures you can have warm, nutritious food when your body needs it most. Your failure to plan cold storage solutions today could lead to spoiled food, wasted money, and hunger tomorrow. Don't assume a blackout will be short. Prepare for the worst-case scenario. Cold storage management isn't optional, it's one of the easiest preps to handle in advance, and skipping it is nothing short of reckless. Prioritize now, regret nothing later. 9. Backup fuel supply. Without fuel, your ability to survive a blackout severely diminishes. It's not just about keeping the lights on. Fuel is critical for powering your essential equipment, cooking your meals, and staying warm when temperatures drop. If you're not prioritizing a reliable backup fuel supply right now, you'll regret it when disaster strikes. Start with propane. This fuel is versatile and essential for running stoves, heaters, and generators. It's clean, stores well, and can be a lifesaver during prolonged power outages. Get extra tanks, don't assume 1 or 2 will be enough. You'll need reserves to stay ahead of an extended blackout. Charcoal and firewood are must-haves for outdoor BBQ grills and fireplaces. Yes, they're old school, but they're effective when modern appliances fail. Stockpile more than you think you'll need and ensure you only use them in safe, designated areas to avoid risks like carbon monoxide poisoning. Waste no time collecting these, it'll be too late once supplies run dry in stores. For generator owners, gasoline or diesel will be your lifeline. Your generator is useless without fuel. Stockpile these fuels in approved containers that are safe for long-term storage. Pro tip, add a fuel stabilizer to extend the shelf life and keep it from degrading. If you skip this step, you could find yourself stuck with unusable fuel, completely avoidable with a little preparation. A critical point often overlooked is that gas stations need power too. That means if the grid goes down, so do the pumps. Don't assume you'll be able to refuel during an emergency. Your only option is to fill up beforehand and store fuel safely at your home. Waiting until the last minute will leave you empty-handed. Backup fuel isn't optional, it's survival 101. Without it, you'll be left cold, hungry, and in the dark. Don't kid yourself into thinking alternatives will magically appear when you need them most. Act now to ensure you've got the fuel needed to power through the coming blackout chaos. 10 first aid kits. Don't take chances when a blackout hits. Injuries and illnesses won't wait for the lights to come back on. A properly stocked first aid kit isn't an option, it's a necessity. You won't get away with just a few bandages. Your kit should contain essentials like bandages of different sizes, gauze, antiseptics, adhesive tape, scissors, and sterile gloves. These are your frontline tools for dealing with cuts, scrapes, and minor wounds. Think beyond the basics. Stock medications such as pain relievers, antihistamines, antacids, and cold medicines. Without electricity, pharmacies might be inaccessible, and waiting isn't an option when you're in pain or someone's having an allergic reaction. If you or someone in your household has chronic conditions, ensure an emergency supply of prescriptions that lasts at least several days. Items like insulin for diabetics or inhalers for asthma are non-negotiable. Don't make the mistake of assuming you'll just manage. You won't. Expand your kit to include extras that could save you from further stress during a blackout. A digital thermometer is invaluable for tracking fevers, especially if someone gets sick and resources are stretched thin. Emergency blankets can prevent hypothermia when the heat is out. A well-detailed first aid manual ensures you have guidance in handling different scenarios. Knowledge is power when professional help isn't immediately available. Beyond the essentials, tools make all the difference. Tweezers are surprisingly critical for handling splinters or stingers. Instant cold packs are perfect for swelling or minor sprains when freezers are useless without power. These aren't nice-to-haves, these are what you'll sorely regret if you overlook them when the time comes. Prepare your first aid kit now, not when it's already too late. A blackout is unpredictable, but your survival doesn't have to be. Having the right medical supplies could be the barrier between a manageable situation and outright disaster. If you think you'll just improvise, think again. Your future self will thank you for being prepared. 11 less than lethal security tools. When a blackout strikes, criminals and opportunists come out of the shadows. If you're not ready to protect yourself, you're leaving an open invitation for trouble. This is why less than lethal security tools are a must-have during power outages. They're effective, easy to use, and won't turn you into a news headline. Here's what you need and why you need it now, because when your lights go out, so does the sense of security. First, invest in pepper spray. It's compact, affordable, and delivers an instant dose of pain to anyone threatening your safety. A single spray can blind and incapacitate someone long enough for you to get away or call for help. It's no-nonsense self-defense in your hand, and no one in your household should be without it unless you're okay with being defenseless. Next, don't rely on just primitive tools. Go for non-lethal projectile launchers like pepper ball guns. These bad boys allow you to keep a safe distance while delivering a strong deterrent to would-be intruders or attackers. You can hit your target from across the room, and the effects are crippling enough to neutralize the threat without lethal consequences. But what happens if no one's around to notice the danger? That's where personal alarms come in. These loud, ear-piercing devices act as your personal panic button. Pull the alarm, and the deafening noise will make any attacker think twice and alert your neighbors to the commotion. It's simple, lightweight, and forces predators to retreat unless they want to be caught. For your property, invest in solar-powered motion-activated lights. Criminals thrive in darkness, don't give them that luxury. These lights provide a sustainable way to illuminate your home, even when the grid is down. The sudden burst of bright light when motion is detected works as both a psychological deterrent and a practical tool to ensure you can see what's happening outside. No thief wants to be caught in the spotlight. Here's the deal: owning these tools isn't enough. Everyone in your household needs training. Take the time to learn how to use these tools properly. Practice using the pepper spray. Test your projectile launcher. Ensure your personal alarms are functional. And map out areas where your motion lights won't miss a beat. Security tools are worthless if no one knows how to handle them confidently when chaos strikes. 12 cash reserves and barter goods. When the lights go out and the systems we rely on crumble, having cash and barter goods isn't just smart, it's survival. If you're overconfident about digital banking or expecting your debit card to work in the middle of a blackout, you're setting yourself up for failure. ATMs run on electricity, and card readers won't do you any good with a dead network. That's why you need to stash at least $500 in small bills beforehand. Not enough to make you a target, but enough to get through crucial transactions in the chaos. When it's about acquiring essentials like food, fuel, or medicine, small denominations will be your lifeline, since people won't have change for large bills. But don't stop there. Cash is only part of the equation, because in long-term outages, hard currency could lose its value when crucial supplies are what everyone's scrambling for. That's where barter comes in. Stock up on the right items now, and you'll thank yourself later. High-demand goods like alcohol and tobacco are practically universal trade currency. People will always want them. Basic hygiene products such as soap and toothpaste won't just keep you clean, they'll make you an asset when others are desperate to maintain some sense of normalcy. Basic medical supplies like bandages and disinfectants? They'll be worth their weight in gold when injuries go untreated. Think beyond the basics too. Batteries power essential devices, and their demand will skyrocket once flashlights and radios become lifelines. Fuel for generators, cars, or even cooking will become a top-tier trade commodity. Other essentials like canned food, rice, and shelf-stable items are worth their space and weight. And don't forget disinfectant wipes. They aren't just good for hygiene, they'll help keep sickness at bay when sanitation becomes an afterthought. The lesson here is brutal but simple: when things collapse, your ability to pay or trade for goods might dictate whether you sink or swim. The people who prepare and prioritize these tangible resources will have the upper hand. Ignoring cash reserves and barter goods is gambling with your survival. Do the work now to secure what you and your family will need, because once the blackout hits, it'll be too late to prepare. Pay attention, stock up, and stay ready.